Right, we should be live. Yay! Hopefully.
Live at 5. Woohoo!
Right, evening.
Good evening.
Let me have we can have a look at a post on Facebook. We can do that. Anyway, so good evening, everyone. We're just mucking around with technology as we do on Happy Days, and you know we love to muck about with technology. We're trying some new bits now. So we should be live. I'm hoping we are.
I'm the new bit.
And a lovely new bit as well. I think you'll all agree it's a lovely new bit to have. Hi, Joanne. So yeah, we are live, which is great. So we've got people here with us. So as you know, on Happy Days, we like to bring some wonderful people into your lives who have had great experience at doing wonderful things with their lives. And just, you know, being able to change miraculously. Well, not miraculously, it's the wrong word. Change through doing some work, finding out what's making them tick, and finding out what makes them not tick so well, by using various things available to us as a human race now. Anne-Marie is I regard her as a quite close friend now. We met through the Yes Group, I think, initially. We've known each other. Our paths have crossed in various places, I think you've said. So,
amen.
So, yes, you know, as we spoke about the stuff we do now, and I think we both resonated and thought that, you know, it was a wonderful thing to talk about, and obviously said that I wanted to talk to you on Facebook about and share your experience, which is lovely. So, everyone, I'm going to tell you a bit about you, Anne-Marie, first, before you don't mind, before we go into a quick chat. Let me introduce you, Anne-Marie Wickham, everyone. So, she's a certified master clinical hypnotherapist, a master NLP practitioner, a life coach, a disc trainer. I want to ask you about that. You have a wealth of work in your life experience, and at the moment, or more recently, your passion is helping children and adults to overcome adversity. I love that because, you know, I worked in that field for quite a long time, and I worked in a very entrenched role in the NHS with multiple complex needs, which is, you know, helping people to overcome lots of adversity. So I commend you on your work, and I know it's very difficult, and without the right support, it can be very demanding. So anyway, welcome to our little chat, hon. It's lovely to see you again. You're looking radiant, and
Thank you.
Yes, what can I say? It's lovely to have you aboard. So firstly, look, I know who you are. Everyone else has heard your name, Anne-Marie Wickham. We've met through, as I said, many channels. Tell everyone about your story, where you came to be, you know, what brought you to where you are now, actually, I think would be the best way to lead in. And welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Well, you know, everybody's got a story, and I've lived so many lives in the lives that I've had. It's trying to condense it down, I suppose. I was born into care at the age of 2, so, you know, navigating the care system was quite difficult. Really trying to find out who I was all the time, because, you know, you don't realise, if you don't have a mum and dad to tell you those stories of who you are, if you don't have somebody confirming to you regularly, you're great, you're wonderful, you're this and you're that, you're kind of a lost person and that's what I was for many, many years. I didn't know who I was, I didn't know what I thought, I didn't know how I felt. I didn't know anything about myself, so I started a quest to really discover me, and that led me to do some amazing jobs. I've been an event manager, I've been a bus conductor, I've been a bus driver, I've been a teacher, I've done so many different jobs, and all of them with the focus of helping people, because I thought that if I understood how they worked, then I'd understand how I worked. I thought that if I met somebody that resonated, or I could see something of myself in them, I could ask them how they got through what they got through. So that was the story behind doing all the different jobs. And then there always, for everybody, I think, there comes a time when you just get stopped by a brick wall. And that brick wall says, sort your life out, or you're not going to have a life left. And I really got to that point. And it wasn't through the normal channels. It was just really, I just was crying every single day. I couldn't see a way out of my situation, and I tried everything. Really, I had tried everything, all kinds of therapy, and I just thought the only person that's going to heal me is me, because I've tried every avenue and they don't work for me. They may work for some people, but not for me. And so I studied to be Oh, and on all that time, I've been homeless 3 times. I ended up being homeless in Germany with 3 children. I came back to England 10 years ago, nearly to the day. I had 3 bags, 3 kids, turned up in Brentwood, said I'm homeless. And the lady said to me, it's 5:25. We knock off at 5:30. You need to come back tomorrow. And I said, well, in that case, you need to give me your car keys because that's where I'm going to be sleeping tonight, in your car. And she was like, don't be ridiculous. So I was like, no, it is that bad. And that's where I'm going to be sleeping. So if you want that on your conscience. And she realised that it was true because my children were like 3 and 4. And no one's going to make that sort of stuff up at that time. And they stayed till 6, thank you. And they got me a B&B in Epping. And that's where I was for the next 2 weeks, in a B&B in Epping. And that's really, I suppose, where the journey to recovery came. And I studied for a BA Honours in child psychology and business and education. Still looking, struggling, seeking, searching, as we all are. And not enough. And then I decided to study hypnotherapy. And that's where my life was transformed. Because I, number one, realised so many things about me. And I realised that I could change the way my brain worked. And I think for so many people that get stuck in these situations, they don't believe that, they believe that old saying, a leopard can't change its spots. I don't agree. A leopard can change their spots, one at a time. Yeah. And before you know it, you're a puma. So, yeah, I did the work. I became a life coach. And I remember, so many things started falling into place, so many synchronicities. And all of a sudden, it wasn't easy because I still, after that time, became homeless again. It's such a long story. But what I had now was tools. Yeah. And living in a 2-bedroom flat, still with 3 kids, no way out. I started listening to motivational speakers. I started listening to Les Brown. Les Brown is my man. He's my main man. And I could just at those moments with my headphones on, going out walking, I can imagine a different life for me. And this was the first time that I've been able to think outside of my circumstances because I just kept getting stuck in my circumstances. And I manifested this beautiful house that I live in. And I did that because I was so, we're going to get out of here. We're going to get out of here. And I managed to do it. And when you start seeing the changes that you make and you start confirming to yourself, yeah, you did this, you created your own life, it just gives you the incentive and the motivation, the purpose to be able to not only fix yourself, but I think if anyone's given a beautiful gift of being able to fix themselves, then they want to share it with others. And that's how I became to do the job that I do. I heal lots of children because I have a deep love for children who I just believe are victims of their circumstances sometimes. Yeah. And most importantly, I created the program Flow, which really is, I've just had a young boy here tonight and I was like, I want to get you back into your flow. He said, what does flow mean? I said, when you're playing with your friends and you're giving out who's going to be who or whatever. And, you're just having such a great time. You're in that moment and you're just totally gone with it. And then all of a sudden you look at your watch and you're late home. He's like, yeah. I said, that's flow. Flow doesn't have time. Flow is when you're at peace and at harmony, and when you've got those butterflies because you're excited and you're creating and you're having fun and you're just being in that moment of now. That's your flow. Absolutely. And that's what we need to get back to you. And he was like, yeah, he got it. Everybody gets it because there isn't nobody in the world that's never been in their flow at one point in their life. But you know what? You just want to expand those moments of flow. They should be bigger than your downs. Yeah. Those moments of flow should be expanded.
Wow. I was immersed in that. I know you're meant to immerse. It's a very profound story. I was unaware of the homelessness. I wanted to ask you a few things about what you've just said. So, firstly, what was the? I remember my moment of sheer desperation and when I went, right, that is it, and that was a moment.
Yeah.
So when was that actual moment for you? I mean, you explained that you got to, obviously the homeless and there was everything else going wrong in your life. It wasn't particularly working for you. So what was the actual click when it went right, and then I realised the passion. You realise that it's innate. You have an ability to change, and you can do it on a penny, and a state, and a we listen to motivational speakers, but I think the whole thing about this is that it comes from inside, and there's a moment when it goes bang, and I got that moment. I got that moment, 23 years ago, and it never left me, and it was like I had a moment the other week, and I don't know if this is the same view, but as I just explained to you, we did the Joe Dispenza, the Happy Days team did Joe Dispenza's workshop. We will get back to what we were talking about, Anne-Marie. But there was another clunk. My head went clunk. It's like when you program, or all your neuros go to work at the same time, or you're recreating, or neuroplasticity, recreating the neural pathways, and they all just synchronize at one time, and it's an amazing experience. Anyway, I want to find out, what was that moment for you, the actual moment, and how was it? How describe it if you can.
Well, I've read Joe Dispenza's books, and I've listened to his interview with Tom Blue on the impact theory.
Yeah, I did.
So I know what you're talking about. And I think that's different from the moment of where you think, wow, my life has just changed. Do you know what I mean? Because when I've had those moments of my life has just changed, and then I've had those moments of I just changed my life, and they're two different things.
Yeah.
So the moment when I knew, wow, my life has changed, is I was in Germany, and I've been there, same old story, I suppose. It's not an original one. My husband went off with another woman. I was left with 3 kids in Germany by myself. Didn't really speak the language. We were on the point of being homeless, and I had to make a decision about what I was going to do. And I'm going to be honest, I had a conversation with God at that point, and I said to him, you know what? I said, I don't know what to do. It's not nice to be in that situation of I just don't know what to do. I have no clue. I said, you need to give me a sign, because I'm lost. I just don't know what to do. We were living on food stamps. We didn't have any money. I didn't understand the language. I was a black person in Germany, which wasn't really that cool, I have to say. It was just all... There were dark times. There were really dark times. And the one thing that was stopping me from going back is I didn't have any money. I couldn't actually get a plane. And I said, you need to show me something. And I said, it needs to be really profound, really obvious. And then I think it was about a week and a half later, I got a phone call. And it was a phone call from my then husband's mum saying, you're out there, you're struggling. Why don't you just come home? And I said, yes. Easier said than done, but I can't get home. I've got no money. How am I going to get all my stuff back? And she said, well, I'll give you the flight. And I said, that's really kind. But I said, I need to bring my stuff back as well. She went, just buy new stuff. Now, this is a person who's lived in care all their life. Everything I have to my name is my history. I am my heirlooms for my children. They don't have nannies and So if I got rid of everything, we would have no rudder. We wouldn't have anything to refer back to. I couldn't do that. I said, no, I need to bring my stuff. I need to bring the photographs of the kids. I have to bring their history with them. And she was like, I'll pay for you to come back and bring it all back.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's profound.
I'm coming.
And in a month, we came back. We literally, it was shabby really, because we had one of those metal trolleys with the little wheels on. I think we got it from a boot sale. And we strapped, because it was only me, and we strapping all the suitcases on with them bungee things, right? And we must have looked like tramps, really. Honestly, the kids were all bedraggled. And, where are we going? I said, we're going on an aeroplane. This is going to be fun. But it was really scary, Brandon. You know what I mean? You're coming back to a country that I'd, said, I'm never going back there. I didn't like the schools. I thought I was, I'm going to go and make a new life. Coming back with my tail between my legs, with no one to come back to, starting all over again at the age of 44, all over again with nothing, was bloody scary.
Of course.
But I had the sign. I had to follow the sign, and I came back.
Well done. That's an incredible story. I love it. It's brilliant. It just, just the whole thing about, I put it out there. It just resonates, doesn't it? You without really, you do it with an intention, you do it with a passion. You say, this is what I need.
Yeah.
There's a consciousness, isn't it? I mean, you get it out there, and then someone replies and says, here's the money, here's what you need to come home. And, and you want to bring everything home, so bring everything home. So fantastic story, and well done for that, for reaching out. And I think the thing about that whole scenario is that, you did have the awareness. You did say, right, this is what I need to do. I need to go home. I need to be, all right. Okay, I'd made some decisions in the past, which I'm now changing. You made them the right way. Brilliant. So we're glad you're back anyway.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you work with children. I think it's an incredible thing you do because, I've heard we speak a lot about the kids nowadays and what they're they're subjected to, and I think subjected is the right word because the fact that the information available to them is so it can be. Well, we know it.
Detrimental.
That's right, and we know how the sites that people use and the social media, how it's if it's not used the right way, it creates all these self-esteem problems and self-issues, self-doubt issues, self-loathing. I'm not good enough, and this is inbuilt from an early age now because of the comparisons they live with. So how do you? I mean, I should imagine you come up with a lot of stuff like that with the children you work with. So, how do you get around that? What's the main areas you work with them?
Well, it's always about confidence, and I have to tell you, what is the saddest thing is I live in an affluent area, and I have children coming to me that have everything, and yet they feel they have nothing. And I always do, the first time I ever work with them, I ask them 3 questions, and it always just blows me away. It makes me so sad in my heart. So I ask them, give me 3 words that would describe you. If I was speaking to your favourite teacher, what words would they use to describe you? And they go, they can usually manage 2. And then I go, and your mum, if I asked you to describe your mum to describe you, how would she describe you? And they might say another 2. And I say, okay, so how would you describe you? They go, and they can't answer because they are so bombarded and trying so hard to fit into this media-driven country that we live in. They lose sight of themselves. And I've had a session today exactly the same, saying, what we need to build? We need to build your deal breakers. When you know who you are, you know what you stand for, you know what your values are and your beliefs are, you know what you'll put your fists up for, and you know what you'll step back for. We have to build that within you before you can step out and know who you want to be and what friends you want to have. Isn't that amazing at 11 and 12 years of age that children are struggling with knowing who they are? It's the hardest thing. And then, we do 6 sessions together. And by the end of it, I've got some lovely videos on my Facebook page of the difference, because I take a before video and I take an after video. And it's just joyful. And you know what? And they always say to me, I can see you're crying, because I usually am. They catch me because it's just like, you are going to go and be somebody amazing and powerful and just awesome in this world. And all it took was 6 one-hour sessions for me to have a conversation with you, to look into your heart and to show you how amazing you are. And that's all it took for you to walk away with that. Why are they not doing it in schools? I've approached so many schools, you need to have life coaching on your curriculum. You need to actually work with children as individuals. You need to invest that time, because these are your future. These are the people that are going to be running our country and running your schools. So give them the time of day that they need. I could go on forever. I find it frustrating, but I'm glad I'm able to do it.
Well, look, I was going to ask you something. So, if we're on this subject, just quickly, we don't want to discuss. We can't change policy right now, but that's what we can aim to do. But so, what do you come up against? I'll give you an example, just a brief example, because we look at thinking errors and how these impact on our daily. That's what I used to work with, and the thinking errors are these words which they're just a bunch of words fundamental to humans, and we use them because we learned from a long age, and it's all about rationalisation and justification and entitlement and labelling and all or nothing and black and white thinking and all this stuff, catastrophizing. Anyway, but we don't really was doing it. So that wasn't really what I was going to say to you. Was so what do you come up against when you say, look, I know schools are funded by other councils or local boroughs, or even maybe they're, privately owned or whatever. So what is it you come when they're going to realise soon, because we know that mental health is now a massive awareness, right? We know that people everyone has a mental health, right? It's just some people have, issues with their mental health, and a lot of us are finding that we all have, in a way. And there's no real diagnosis. It's just life. It's what we live on a daily basis with. We do get stressed. We live in a stressful world. It's not like as easy as we have nothing to worry about, because we have things to worry about every day.
Yeah.
So when you suggest to schools that they do something within their curriculum about well-being for the kids, what's the answer then?
I'll tell you what the biggest problem is, and I am, one thing I am raw, I am open, I am honest, and I don't play games, because I don't believe in fannying about and using all the nice labels. I'm going to tell you straight, this is what you need. One of the biggest problems is the life that I've had. I've got 3 children, and there are some scars that they carry. And my son is particularly, he won't like me saying this, but he's particularly bright. And I think really bright children or really under-challenged children really struggle in the system. You know who doesn't struggle? Mainstream, no. Children that follow don't struggle. Children that lead struggle. So my son struggled for a little while, especially with the life that he's had. He's been around, he's been transient. And I don't know, maybe they made a judgment and they think, well, hold on a minute, she's had a son and he's had a little bit of trouble. We don't want to work with her. But I tell you what, Brandon, when and if I go and speak to somebody that I've got a problem about, I want to know that they've had my problem and that they've resolved my problem. What is the life coaching? I don't want to go to it. Love you all, the new ones, but I don't want to go to a 19-year-old life coach, because your life hasn't been big enough for you to be able to talk to me in a level that I need to be coached at. I want to go to someone that's been through some shizzle. I want to know that you've got tools that you used and implemented and you work with that got you to a place of saying, yeah, I did that, and I want you to pass those tools on to me. I don't want someone who's had an immaculate life, a Disney life, right? Trying to tell me, it's because you're thinking the wrong thing. How do you know? So when I go into schools and I say, look, and they say, well, Miss Wickham, your son, he had a little bit. I say, he's human. I'm human. Yeah. But I've got the tools and I want to share them with you because I did it with my son, who's doing very well nicely now. Thank you. But schools, any institution gets so wrapped up with policy and procedure. They just do things by the book, when it suits them. Yeah. When it doesn't suit them, we're talking about Victoria Clinic, because I was a nursery manager for 9 years. Right. So I know what happens when you don't do things by the book. Children die. And I was in nursery management and I saw that. That's why the green paper came out about Victoria Clinic, Lord Laming and all of that. It comes out because people do what they need to do in public, but actually the heart stuff where they're really supposed to do stuff, if they can get away with it, they don't do it. So, I'm someone that I'm out there and I will go above and beyond because I think we all have a duty to go above and beyond. None of us should be living by the 9 to 5, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. We should all, when we recognise that actually giving of yourself is what the reward that you get, that's what fixes you, is the giving, the gratitude. You give, you get back, you give, you get back. You don't have to do it because of that reason, but that's the way it works. That's the cycle of our humanity, is that it is a circle. The more you give out, the more you get back, the more you give out.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think, I think the thing that's important about gratitude and they say that we now know that giving back is, so look, we're community animals. We're not supposed to be on our own. I mean, there are certain people who can be on their own and be well at it, but generally speaking, I think what you find is when we live, this is my take on this, when we live in this world, what we live in here, there are so many, as they said, that saying, you can be in a room full of people and be lonely, and I get that in this world that we live in. I'm not saying that, when maybe you live in a country that doesn't have the contact with the Western world and you are quite a loner, but you don't know any different, and that's all right with you. you may crave, but you won't crave it like, because we feel so lonely because of the constraints that are put on us, and the demands and expectations. When you can't meet those demands, expectations, and those conditions, then you're lonely because you don't feel good enough. You don't feel unworthy. You feel I'm not good enough. My self-esteem drops. Who do you talk to? The first thing you don't want to do is you don't want to go and look at Facebook because you think, look, I'm even worse than I thought, or they don't like me anymore. All that stuff. I mean, we all know this now. I think. I think the fact that you and people like yourself and me or whoever are putting the word out there, and everyone else is in this wonderful world of helping people or well-being, or I mean, I get the thing about schools, and there needs to be something in their criteria. Maybe life coaching's a bit strong for now, but something to help them in their life journey. A program of, don't always, follow your dreams. And I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, but life coaching is only the opposite of what they do with teaching. So with teaching, they tell you what to do. Now, everybody knows, give a man a fish, he'll eat for one day. Mm-hmm. Give him a fishing rod, he'll fish for life, right? So we all know that.
Yeah.
I think people get a bit tied up with the term life coaching, but we coach every single day. Every single person we meet, every single person we connect with, we're sharing information that we hope in some way is going to uplift their life and enable them to have a better life.
Absolutely.
So when I say life coaching, all I mean is teaching, but from a developmental point of view. Instead of this is this. Here's this guy. How do you think he got to start children thinking critically and analysing situations and wondering, if I were in that situation, what would I do? Yeah. Rather than just because I know I'm an adult, right? I don't like it when people talk at me for 20 minutes and expect me to get what they're saying. If they're asking questions, two-way communication, you're engaged, you're enjoying it, you're co-creating, right? Yeah. If that's good enough for us, why isn't that good enough for our children? Absolutely. What makes it any different?
Mm. Yeah, you're right.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
Totally right. So it's just, you know what, it'd be lovely. I think you're the person to write the program exactly for them, tailor make it. It would be unbelievable and fantastic. So, we could talk about this for, oh God, it's such a subject. It really is. I mean, are you aware of the goal mapping stuff, obviously? I spoke to Tony at some point. She did. I'd like to know more. I don't really know too much about it. I'll have to investigate. You can share that with me. There's actually a part of the program which is for children. And it's a goal.
Wow!
Yes, this is why when you say something, it's really awesome. You should. I'll get you the information. It's fantastic. If you looked at it, you'd love it. It would really be. It's about mapping the dreams, obviously, and I don't think children have a chance to dream at school because they're caught up in these constraints and do this and this and this. Yes. I mean, I used to dream all the time. That's why I didn't last. He's out on the roof again. I don't know what he's doing out there.
Well, that's how I explain hypnotherapy to the children. They say, "What is hypnotherapy?" And I say, "Okay, what's your worst lesson?" And they might say maths. And I say, okay, so when you're in maths, right, and the teacher's talking at you and your face is looking at her and your body's there, but when your mind just goes off and it's on the football field playing rugby with your mates, but and you're not even, your body's there, but you're away somewhere, and they go, yeah. And I go, that's hypnotherapy, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's taking your mind out of your body and going somewhere else to do what you need to do, what you want to do.
Exactly. It's wonderful. What a lovely conversation. Right, so how's all that going? And what's next for you? How's that? I mean, flow. I love the sound of flow. I looked at it earlier. I thought, I'm going to get back in my flow soon as well. So
I love it. And the more that I'm talking about it, the more when I meet people. Well, firstly, the painful side is when I talk to some people and they just go to me, I feel emotional because they're like, I just want to stop crying. And I go, I remember those days. I remember exactly how that feels. And the good thing about learning the principles of flow is that you can never unlearn what you've learned, right? And I remember my sister saying to me about 25 years ago when I had my heart broken for the first time, she went, "This is a good thing." And I said, "Why?" And she said, because everything that's happened up until now, if it ever happens again, it will ring alarm bells. And when it starts ringing alarm bells, it will go straight to that place in your brain that feels pain and hurt. You won't want to do it again. And I was like, okay, that's a good analogy. And that's, I suppose, when I talk about flow, you're learning things in such a way that you're able to implement them. You get that good feeling back. That's how we create new brain neurons, is we learn a different pathway. And if that pathway is going to give us something kinder and nicer and that resonates with us more than the old one, that's what we strengthen.
Yeah.
So it goes from being something that you practice and doing, then it becomes a habit, and then after it becomes a habit, it becomes your personality, and then it becomes your program. And then there you are. Your leopard has changed its spots.
Absolutely. I love those words. And you know what? It's exactly the way, last week, and hearing you say it again now just reinforces that whole thing that, I want everyone to know that the thing that we've all discovered, and that, if you haven't yet, you can change your mind. When you say, I've changed my mind, you can literally change your mind, and you can change it by thinking. I love this. I did a workshop in IB for the first one last year, and I called it Think Again.
Okay.
Well,
lovely.
So when teachers go, think again.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But, so I think the fundamental thing again is that people have to realise that you can change your thinking and you can change your mind completely. Thank you for that, Amory. That was wicked.
You're more than welcome.
I love the way you articulate that. It's brilliant. So, Flo's moving on. So at Happy Days, we obviously know that self-care is important. We like to be able to give people something to, on a daily basis, to change or put a chink in that routine, which takes them back to the usual thinking, behaviours and routine that goes on. So what do you do to support your well-being, and what would you suggest if it's a small change in the morning? And what do I do now? I do something different every day. I mean, I've even slept on the different side of the bed, and I'm doing everything. Something small, but different every day. Even if it's getting up and thinking, just being mindful of how you're thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, in Smart Recovery, there's a 5-point thing that just says when you wake up, check in. Don't start thinking straight away.
Yes.
How am I? Ask yourself some questions. How am I feeling?
Yeah.
How am I feeling physically? How am I feeling emotionally? How am I feeling mentally? How am I thinking spiritually? And am I thinking correctly?
Yes.
If you can sit down and ask those questions before you get into the normal mode of thinking about what's happening for the day, you can probably negate a better outcome.
Yeah, yeah. I've adopted a few things that I've read that have really been powerful for me. Number one, if I'm going to a really important meeting the next day, I will write it down exactly what it's going to look like and how it's going to transpire and what the outcome's going to be. And I'll go to bed with that in my mind so that I've already done it once. I love doing that because when I go in, and I've had a couple of meetings with corporates, and I don't do corporate because I'm me. So, and I said to my friend, look, I can't go up to corporate, so they're going to have to come down to fun, which is exactly what I did. So that was brilliant. I do that regularly. The other one is when I wake up in the morning, straight away, I'm like, I just want to think of 10 things that I can be grateful for. And usually I might be looking back to the next day, but even if it's my children or even if it's I can swing my legs over the bed, it's always gratitude. It's the first thing that I think of. I won't do anything else until I thought, what am I grateful for today?
Brilliant.
I've got a therapy room out there. I now go and do half an hour of meditation every morning, so I have to get up half an hour before that because the meditation, clearing your mind, it does take practice. And let me give your listeners and viewers a little tip how you can get into a meditative state so much easier because you've got all those thoughts going round like a merry-go-round. It's really annoying. This is what you can do to get into that meditative state really quickly. Just think of everything white. Weddings, doves, clouds, plates, walls. And that's the way that you can clear everything from your mind because you have to be able to focus on something.
Right.
And when you're focusing on all your rubbish. But if you're focusing on right things, little bit by little bit, you just have a clear vision. And that's when you can just go off into that place where you get all your knowledge, when you get that download. But you can only get that download when your mind is clear.
I love that. I'm going to use that tomorrow. I really am because I do my meditation and as you said, it's like, you could come on, get back. And it does take practice. I mean, because, to shut the world out is very tough. There's all these things going on for you all day long. Yeah. And to be able to do that. But when you function from that place of the now.
Neutrality, yeah.
You're right here. There's nothing here. Yeah. There's nothing there. You're in the moment. And that is the place to be. And you
I
can
love that. I mean, like right now, Brandon, I can feel that co-creative of this conversation of uplifting each other, of empowering each other, of educating each other. That's where I get my va-va-voom from. I know some people find it a little bit annoying because I'm so excited all the time, but sorry, that's it.
I'm happy, and that's it.
Because I love it. I embrace it. It's a wonderful feeling. I know I'm alive. Right now, I know I'm absolutely alive, and I want to feel that as often as I possibly can. So.
You are, hon, and it's brilliant, and it's lovely that you're alive. And I feel exactly the same way. Now, you do get inspired when you share thoughts, and something resonates, and get a little ring. You think, oh, I'm going to try that, and that's really good, and I get it's going to work because you know that if you can feel it working. Yeah. Right, listen, I can't thank you enough for your time. I'm going to come and see you. I did make the promise. I promise you I'm going to come and see you. I'm going to sit in your treatment room with you.
Yay!
I promise you I will. I've got it in my mind to do that now. I want to thank you so much for joining us. Your talking is brilliant. The work you do is fantastic.
Thank you.
It can only go better places. The more we get it out there, the more the message goes out, the more work, the more learning that we all do, and the more interaction, as you say. It can only help.
Yeah.
So, on that note, thank you.
God bless.
God bless you.
Stay blessed.
I want to see you. Pleasure, Joe. It's lovely. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Really appreciate your time. And I know it's an evening and you may be busy, but, it's always good
I've got a Facebook Live at 9 with Kate McKenzie, the flirtologist.
I know, Kate. I've interviewed
So she's going to teach us how to flirt. And then on Wednesday, I'm going down to Shoreditch to go to her flirtology class.
I'm at UPW on Wednesday, so...
Oh!
Yes.
Maybe I could come over to you afterwards, maybe. Let's have a chat about it.
Okay.
All right.
Lovely.
God bless.
Enjoy Kate. She's fantastic. I did an interview with her a while ago. It's great.
She's cool, isn't she?
Really cool. Really
I'm
cool.
excited.
Lovely to see you, honey.
And you. Take care.
Have a lovely evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.